Well, good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning presented by and I can't hear him. Drew is actually up today. He is awake for morning scone. We might, just might, be graced by his presence. A morning scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hope y'all had an absolutely wonderful Saturday and are having a great start to your Sunday. We had a night out last night, which was wonderful. Erica's sister Jennifer, aka JJ, as you all know JJ, and going to JJ's house. And JJ's daughters are Sophia and Olivia, who you all met at family vacation. JJ's birthday, so we went out last night and had a really good time. So we actually, she wanted to go to 18 Steak in Le Berge. So we went there. Fantastic meal. They have a dry aged ribeye that was, fantastic. Fantastico. And then we went and played, Erica played some roulette, won $100. I took my original 100, gave her the 100 she won, and then I bet the 100 on red, won 100, so I was up to 200, and then put it on black and lost. And we came home. All right, let's say some good mornings here. So because we went out last night, I did not get to see all of the Saints game. It's DVR'd. I'll catch up today. I did read the box score. I read the game report. I saw the first quarter, so I saw Taysom start the game and play the first quarter. Really nice first drive. Saw the interception. Big fourth down defensive stop. Caden Ellis, who came up with the big play there. Marcus Davenport with some nice early pressures. One of the guys I told you I was looking for because he needs to have a big year. Tano Passanio started in place of Cam Jordan. No Alvin Kamara. Didn't see a lot of no Demario Davis, no Marcus Williams, no Marshawn Lattimore. So we got to see Paulson Adebo get the start. That was interesting, man. It was good to see some of those young guys run around a little bit. I win or loss, I really don't care in a preseason game. Excuse me. 6 turnover sucks. All 3 quarterbacks threw a pick. I saw highlights of them. I saw Taysom's, which was ugly, but apparently it was a miscommunication with he and Ty Montgomery. But you'd rather have that happen in the preseason. Jameis threw a deep ball, went off little Jordan Humphrey's hands, who also had a drop on the first play of the game. And I did not see Ian Book's interception, so I don't know. All right. Sorry, I sneezed and now it's all blah. Anyway. Okay, let's, I gotta share the YouTube on Twitter. Excuse me. There you go, our YouTube. Good morning. Let's see. Okay. And then as far as LSU, defensive line kind of won the day in the scrimmage. Now, media doesn't get to see the scrimmage, but we do get a report and then Ogeron interviews and all that sort of stuff. But apparently the defensive line had a really good day. It was mostly a red zone. It was like basically was running you off like first, second, third, and then red zone. Let's see, of note, Max Johnson, 11-19 for 127 and a touchdown. Nussmeier, 11 of 17 for 225 and 3 scores. How about Garrett Nussmeier? Booty and Brian Thomas were the leading receivers. Not surprising there. And let's see, other guys I pointed out defensively, Ali Gay, Andre Anthony, Joe Evans, Neil Farrell. So good stuff. Tigers are off today, and then they return to practice on Monday. So the best news is just get through it healthy, right? All right, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got on this Sunday. Thanks to everybody for hanging out, waking up with us. Devin, Michael Snow, good morning, Ian Buck. Jeff McKithen, good morning. Blaine Smith, sloppy preseason debut. There were 6 turnovers. There were 3 interceptions and 3 fumbles. Hey, Dad, good morning. Kelly Presley, good morning. Brittany Delahousse, good morning, Matt. Tried some Oak and Eden toasted bourbon. last night. Really enjoyed it. Any recommendations for another toasted? So Brittany, if you like a toasted barrel, I'm the same way. I love a toasted barrel. I love the charred barrel flavor. I think it's fantastic. The best one I've ever had is Michter's Toasted, and it's just very hard to find. Toasted barrel whiskeys are just hard to find. They're rare because it's just a difficult process to go through. But Michter's Toasted is fantastic if you can ever find it. Elijah Craig has a toasted barrel, which is also magnificent, and Parker's Heritage is another one, which is a unicorn. They're all hard to find. Like, you're not just gonna walk into a store and see any of them on a shelf. Like, you're gonna hunt for them a little bit. Dale Broussard, good morning. Happy Crypto Pumping Sunday. Let's go. I'm hoping, man. Telling you, man, the guy, if you're not following BitBoy Crypto on YouTube or on all social media, but watching his shows and his content on YouTube, you need to. The guy's been totally on point with everything. So, you feel like you're armed with the how-to, and yeah, I'm excited. Aaron Abear, what's up, man? Nolan Daigle, Morton Matt still in Baton Rouge. The Saints can't have the ball on the ground, can't put the ball on the ground that much and win. I agree, but listen, the other thing too, Nolan, is it was, I mean, look, Latavius Murray's fumble was the most concerning, right? I mean, you have a really nice opening drive, you get inside the 10-yard line, and you fumble, and that's your starting running back. That's concerning. With respect, I mean, I know Kamara, but we all understand. But then Tony Jones fumbled. He had a nice day. Averaged 11 yards carry. Tony Jones Jr. did. And then Devontae Freeman fumbled. He had 6 carries for 6 yards. I mean, that's not evidence of, like, when you're done sort of thing. But anyway, Tony Jones is a good player at Notre Dame. Maybe he'll make this squad as the third running back. It's a good start yesterday. And then another thing I thought that was really encouraging early, Marquez Callaway. I said, we were going through our, what to watch in this game. I said, can Marquez Callaway be a number one? Well, he legit looked like it on that first drive. Three catches, 61 yards at the long of 28. Boy, he looked good, didn't he? Sure looked the part. Blaine Smith, heard Johnson was under constant pressure during the scrimmage. Hopefully it's more defensive line is good and not the offensive line didn't improve. I think, well, Blaine, it could be a little bit of both. Like, LSU's defensive line should be really good this year. I mean, Neil Farrell was a really good interior player in 2019. Ollie Gay was dominant at times last year. Now he was hot and cold, but when he was good, like against Mississippi State, he looked like a first-round pick. Andre Anthony is obviously much better suited for a 4-3 than a 3-4. LSU's defensive line should be really good this year. They should be really good. We'll see, man. We'll see. Jason Aguilar, good morning. The Saints fans are in serious trouble. Let's see. Ian Book had the best pocket presence out of all 3 and runs a clean play action rollout. It's actually quite impressive. Devin, that's totally fine. Ian Book's not going to start in the NFL. DC, the Bayou Bengal, Bubba Tatum, good morning. Trivia Carter, good morning. Tim Gotro, good morning. Juan Tucka, good morning. Did you hear about Gilbert leaving Georgia? I did. Listen, y'all, I've told y'all from the beginning, when everybody has crapped on that kid, I told you that kid, that young man, has a very serious personal issue that he's dealing with. And maybe one day it'll come out. I don't know. But it does not surprise me at all. Just like it didn't surprise me when he left LSU. And it didn't surprise me when he decommitted from Florida. Like, I understand because he's athletically what he is, why people are so intrigued by him in football, athletically. I just really hope that just his life, because he's not a bad kid, y'all. He's not a bad kid. He's just dealing with something very serious. Let's see, Josh Giraldo, morning Scone. Wonder if ball security will be a point of emphasis saying Scant moving forward, do you think? Kev Martin, good morning, Matthew. 2 T's, very good. Brock, HUDCO number 15, your thoughts on Coach O in his post-scrimmage interview about the linebackers, and did not mention Mike Jones as a starter going forward. They're going to make him earn that, Kenneth. I don't think that's a surprise. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. They let Mike Jones do media availability on Thursday or Friday of last week. I mean, they don't let typically backups go do media availability, right? So Mike Jones is going to start. They're just going to make him earn it. Merrick Mathern, they have a lot of unskilled players on the team right now. Is that what the Mike D line practices for the unskilled? Yeah, it's also the first preseason game. It's a lot of guys that aren't going to make the roster. If by the third preseason game when the starters are actually playing and you have 6 turnovers, I'd be a little more concerned. There's nothing that's ever going to happen in a preseason game that's going to get me high or low. I mean, do you remember, like, the Saints in 2006 were so heinously bad in the preseason. Like, they legitimately didn't even know if Breeze was going to be able to play like if he was going to be ready to start the season. Hang on. They played Dallas, I think because they were still waiting for the Dome to get done. They played Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, in Shreveport. There it is. All right. And they got their T-Heinies kicked. I think they were 0-4. They were 1-3 in that preseason. Okay. All right, they beat the Titans 19-16. Oh, no, wait. Then they lost to Dallas 30-7. They lost to the Colts 27-14. And then they lost to the Chiefs 10-9. Like, ain't nobody had nothing good to say about that team in 2006 after the preseason. And they went 10-6 and won the division and were a win away from the Super Bowl. Like, I just don't care. I don't. I don't care about the game. Like, what I care about is watching individuals. Like, I like seeing Marquez Callaway. I like seeing Tony Jones. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see the young guys defensively, like Zach Bond, who got to start. I want to see him and Adebo. I want to see if those guys come along. It was nice to see Davenport get some pressures. That's what I want to see. Let's see. Jason, rookie quarterbacks look good. 49ers, Jets, Jags. Again, I don't care. It's preseason, bro. It's the same thing we keep saying. Like, everybody's going to look at Winston and Hill and think, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I will continue to maintain, like, we know how Sean's handling this. Taysom started this game. Jameis is going to start the next game. And then we'll see what they do for the third game. But by the time they get into the opener, Jameis Winston's going to be started against Green Bay. Let's see. Lemos tried ranch water for the first time last night. Tip of the cap to your tequila on the rocks with a twist of lime taste. You got you one, huh? Boyce Yarbrough, good morning. Justin Sizemore, good morning. Ready for real football? Absolutely. Almost here, man. Look, you're 2 weeks from yesterday to college football, week 0. How about that, man? I mean, you'll be watching UCLA play Hawaii in less than 2 weeks now. In 13 days. Almost here. Well, let's see. Jason Logan has a fracture in his foot. Hopefully it heals quickly. Yeah, Ogeron announced that. It was Wednesday. That was a fracture. But they do expect him back this year. Akeem Williams. Good morning. What the hell is it? Oh, are you talking about Gilbert? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to... One day, maybe, you know, he'll tell his story, and if he does, y'all will know. And a lot of adults who are crapping on a kid are going to feel about this big, because you should. Bill Schmid, good morning. Jason, unbelievable player Gilbert. Where in the heck is he going now? Crapping his life and career. It ain't about football, man. It's not about football. The Ian Book over Winston. Brian Fletcher, good luck running on the Saints defense. Davenport may kill someone on the field this year. Teams will get 3 weeks of Taysom game tape and shut him down. The Ravens made adjustments on the second drive, and he struggled. Callaway was able to find holes against his own defense against one of the best zone corners. I had to write incomplete sentences because Matt will make fun of your dyslexia when reading your comments. What? I don't get it. But I do think those observations are good. I hope Davenport keeps it up. Definitely impressed by Callaway. Was there anything else? Jeffrey Bone, good morning. Barry Minton, Adebo looked good last night. I think he might start opposite Lattimore. I don't think you're going to make any sweeping conclusions. I still think that before camp is over, they're going to add a starting caliber cornerback. I think they have to. I think they're not going to go into this season, especially knowing you're going to be without Lattimore likely for a couple of games. They have to. They have to add someone else. Merrick Mathern, like button smash. Thank you, Merrick. That's right. Thank you. Smash the like button, if you would. Thank you, YouTube. Appreciate that. Ultimate Rorier. I was screaming at the TV for us to draft Patrick Queen. I mean, we've had this conversation now for more than a year, and that's fantastic. But you also already have Demario Davis as your starting inside backer, and he's an All-Pro. And the context that you forget is, or that not just you, but that most people forget when they have this conversation. The context is you were about to cut Larry Warford because you needed to free up the cap space. So you needed a starting offensive lineman, which is why they drafted Cesar Ruiz, who, by the way, started yesterday. That's the bigger thing. Quit worrying about Patrick Queen. Like, you're fine at linebacker. And they ended up drafting Zach Bond, who they felt was a first-round talent, in round 3. If it ever materializes, we'll see. But they addressed that. But the bigger need at the time was they needed a starting offensive lineman because they knew the next week they were cutting Larry Warford. That's the thing most people don't forget. When people say, like, the Saints didn't draft Jarvis Landry. They didn't draft Jarvis Landry because they took Brandon Cooks in round 1. They took a receiver. You weren't going to go receiver. Tony Jones will make the Saints roster. He was the best running back last night. It's early, but, I mean, I would take Tony Jones over Devontae Freeman. Taysom Hill cannot be our starter unless we're tanking for a quarterback. I would agree with that. Jonathan Martin, good morning. Kevin Kaliva, morning, Matt. Random question. What is the poor Glenn drop from? Sounds like Will Ferrell. It is. It's from Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, where they tell him Glenn died, and they were trying to motivate him to go race and win, and then he sees Glenn was actually still alive, just hiding. He goes, poor Glenn. Jesse Brown, good morning, Matt. Ugly game last night, 6 turnovers. Thought Tony Jones ran well. Do you think he makes the team? I'm not going to say that after one game, but did Tony Jones look like a better option than Devontae Freeman last night? Yup. Mike Wycliffe, Dellinger was injured in the scrimmage, torn labrum. That sucks. Murder Giraffe, yo. Excuse me. Hang on. All right. It's always shot to Brock. Batters Road, Peter Quinn, and Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. Oop, where did my comments go? There we go. Where are we? All right, Glenn Laurie. Poor Glenn. We really spoiled with Drew Brees. I like Adebo at corner. I do like Adebo's length. You can see what they liked about it. Think about Adebo, if y'all remember. And I don't know when they drafted him. We talked about this, but if you go back to last year, like before the 2020 season, there were some, way too early mock drafts that had him as a first-round pick. And then he opted out with COVID and saw his draft stock slip a little bit. But you can see the things that they really like in him, for sure. Where are we? Michelle Moore, good morning. STABA07. Adebo and Bond looked much better than I was expecting. Pleasantly surprised. Bond, the word is that Bond has kind of taken some steps this year, which is good. He's interesting because he at Wisconsin was an edge guy. He was an edge guy. So you ask him to play inside and play the run. He was lost last year. But, physically, you could tell he could do it. If the game slows down a bit for him, I think he could be a really good player. I think that's fair. Let's see. Saints were a turnover machine. I love Jameis. I think he's the future, and Taysom needs to be a weapon in that offense. Ian Book should be the backup. I mean, Ian Book's going to make the team, but and I like they'll carry those three. But that's the other part about the Jameis Taysom thing is you're going to need every weapon possible. So you're going to need Taysom Hill on the field in his Taysom Hill role. Wish Jameis didn't wear number 2. It gives me Aaron Brooks memories. Rex Grossman, Brian Urlacher chasing down Reggie Bush. Hadn't thought about that game in a hot minute. I know your story is worse than mine. Yeah. Yeah, it was not fun being there at all. I don't remember Urlacher chasing down Reggie Bush. The Reggie Bush play was the 88-yard wheel route that he housed. That got the Saints back in it when he somersaulted into the end zone. I was sitting in the end zone. The play was going away from me, but they were backed up. I mean, so they had to be at the 12, right? If it was an 88, I think it was an 88-yarder, if I remember correctly. And so it was a little wheel route. Reggie emptied out left. Breeze hit him, and then he cut across the field and went housed and then somersaulted into the end zone. And that was where the Saints got back in it. And they had a chance. They got a stop, got the ball back. They were driving. I think they set up for a field goal, and John Carney missed it in the snow. Place went nuts, and then they went and scored, and it was over. Ryan Babin, good morning. Let's see, Tony Jones Jr., did they draft him or is he working for undrafted free agent? Cliff Nell said, morning, Scone, Rock and Drew team. Drew, thank you, Cliff. Good morning, man. Merrick, when will they announce the Lattimore suspension? I'm surprised, Merrick, it hasn't happened yet. Like, I don't know if y'all noticed, a couple days ago they announced Darius Geis' suspension. Now, he's not on the team, but he's suspended for the first 6 games of the season. We're waiting on Lattimore and Deontay Harris. And again, they've already announced Onyemata's. So Onyemata started last night. He's a bull. I mean, he blew up a play up the middle. It's like, Jesus, that guy. You're going to take that guy out the middle. And anyway. Dale Broussard wondering if Eric ends up at Jackson State. I don't think he's going to play. If he's not playing at Georgia, I don't think he's going to play. I saw that he's not with the team. Did Kirby say he left the program? Let's see. Hang on 1 second, y'all. There it is. So he says he's not practicing. Listen to this comment from Kirby yesterday, okay? He's dealing with some personal issues, not practicing at the moment. Quote, our thoughts and prayers are with him now as he deals with those personal issues, and we hope to get him back soon. Like, I don't know what to tell, like, I mean, I've told you this now for how long? Since December? He's got personal issues. LSU knew about it when they took him last year. They were unable to manage it. I told you last year, if I was his parents, I would want him closer to home also, which is why I was very surprised when he originally committed to Florida, and not surprised at all when he decommitted from Florida and ended up in Georgia. And now I'm also likewise not surprised at this news, and I do hope that he gets things straight. Huntley gave me flashbacks of Jalen Hurts last year. God, that game sucked so bad. Brandon DeVille, Humphrey looked good at times too last night. Look, I mean, Lil Jordan Humphrey's one of those guys. Like last year, Callaway and Humphrey were the two guys I was most excited to see because Humphrey was a guy at Texas. I mean, he was a great college receiver. Not great top end speed, but big body and uses his size to get separation. And a little surprised that he hasn't made more of an impact. But then again, dropping the first ball of the game was blah. Akeem Williams, do you think Brian Thomas surpassed Trey, and Coy for the number 2 spot? Yep, I do. I think he'll be the number 2 guy. Dylan Horn, Callaway emerging as a stud. Looks. Here's the thing I wonder about with that, Dylan. And by the way, I've been high on Marquez Callaway since last year. He was the guy I gave you last year in the undrafted free agent class to say, watch out for that guy because he's going to make the team. You do wonder. So, I mean, he looked good in his first couple drives. But someone has to get targeted. Right? Like, somebody has to be the guy that's getting the ball thrown their way. And I'm wondering if that's what that was or if... I mean, look, he found space against Humphrey. I mean, he's as good as it gets. So, but when you ratchet it up to regular season game speed, you crank up that intensity, does he continue to flash? We're going to find out. Let's see. Sean Anthony Berthelot. Minus the fumble, if Tony Jones continues to run like he did last night, Devontae Freeman will have a hard time making this team. Oh, completely. I mean, if you're looking for a third running back, especially if Tony Jones can play special teams, he'll make the team. I mean, we know Peyton's going to keep a third running back. All teams really are, but Peyton's always had that guy. If it was, Kyrie Robinson or Travaris Cadet or Chris Ivory. I mean, just go through the years of all the guys that they found in undrafted free agency and made the team and became good players, special team guys. And, Peyton's always kind of found that guy. And may have it here. Jamie Honore, happy to see Mike Thomas on the sideline with the team, getting himself ready. Yep, that was great that he made the trip. They need him, y'all. Like, they need him to be healthy. Jeremy Fontana, Aaron Rodgers would look good in the Saints uni. Listen, Jeremy, I'll say this. That is at least plausible. Because Aaron Rodgers' contract is such that this is his last year in Green Bay. He will not be back in Green Bay in 2022. It's just the way they structured it this year. He's going to go somewhere that's going to give him the deal he wants, and he'll finish his career elsewhere. If Mike Thomas is on the team, and you've got the offensive line the Saints have, and you get to play in a dome for 8 home games, or maybe 9, and then you're going to play in Atlanta, so you're going to play there. You're guaranteed to play 9 or 10 games in a dome, as opposed to in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, and you get to play for one of the best offensive coaches in history. Flip side of it is, if Jameis starts this year and blows it up, and the Saints stick with him, that's great too. But if you stink this year, you only gave Jameis a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year, prove it. And let's see. So if they stink and they decide to go a different direction, they will very much be in the mix for Jameis, no doubt, or for Rodgers, no doubt. 65 watching on YouTube, 68 on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. If you're on YouTube, please smash that like button. That's what they say right now. Smash the like button. If you're on mobile, just X out of the live chat. Like you see the comments coming down, just X out of the live chat, hit the like button, and then tap live chat again. Comments come right back. Stephen Fry, when was the last time the Saints organization drafted an LSU player? A couple years ago when they took Will Clapp. Absolutely. Did you see Brian Thomas play in high school? The kid's a stud. He's definitely a freak. In fairness, Jason, anybody who gets an SEC offer is usually a freak in high school. I'm right. I mean, that's just... If you're physically gifted enough to be a high-level SEC football player, like, you're probably going to dominate in high school. But yes, the thing that I talked about this week with Brian Thompson, you hear, is polish. Like, he knows how to play the position. He knows the route tree. He understands different concepts. And all of that has allowed him to get on the field much quicker because his athleticism isn't the only thing putting him on the field. Let's see. Brandon English, morning, Matt. My wife ended up making an appointment with Crystal. She sees you in a couple of weeks. I told her about how much it helped you. I'm very glad. So Brandon is talking about Crystal over at Restored Motions, and Brandon lives in the New Orleans area, and he was asking me if there's anyone comparable. And honestly, Brandon, I don't know, and I'm still happy to ask her. But I really think it's going to be worth her time to make the ride. I referred another guy to Crystal on Friday. It's his wife, and she had a back fracture. She's got rods and plates and can barely move. She's always in pain. I was like, dude, you've got to send her to this woman. Like, what does it, if you've tried everything and you're just living in chronic pain, what does it hurt to try one more thing that might be your unlock, which it has been for me and has been for so many. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too, I got a text yesterday from Tommy Nelson, Bayou State Soft Wash. Y'all are awesome. This is what and this was not an advertisement for I paid this man. Like, it wasn't like we did trade or anything. Like, we hired him and paid him, but he did the soft wash for our house. So like, he soft washed the house, the back patio, the whole thing. I mean, basically everything under the roof. He soft washed the whole thing, and it was amazing. I mean, it just brought so much back to life. Brought the color of the house back. And anyway, he's a veteran. It's he and his brother that run the business, and I was so blown away by his level of service, his communication, throughout. So I gave him a shout out, and being a veteran run business, he was in the Army, and he texted me yesterday. Said, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you so much. Call for the support. Calls are rolling in." And I was like, man, I only mentioned him, I think maybe one or two times, but I'm happy for him. I like to see good people who do good work succeed, man. You know, you get great service, and people do a good job. But I'm more the guy that, and maybe it's just because I, like, so often professionally with what I do, you just hear the negative stuff, right? And I'm not like pandering for compliments, but it's like, a lot of times when people call, text, or email me, whatever, on the show, it's because they disagree with my opinion, right? So usually what you hear is, or tweet me, it's like, you suck, you're stupid, you were wrong, but like, that's what you hear. It's rarer that you hear the good stuff, right? So maybe as a result of that, I'm the guy who, like, at a restaurant, I'm never gonna call the manager over to complain. I would call the manager over to say, my steak was awesome, service was fantastic, I'll be a big tipper. Like, that's just more, I guess, more my nature. So anyway, that's what I kind of gave Tommy a shout out, and apparently a bunch of y'all have called. He's doing well, so that's fantastic to hear. Okay. Andrew Brister, 6 turnovers. The next thing's quarterback ain't on this team. I completely disagree with you, Andrew. I mean, one of those guys is going to start this year. I mean, if you're talking about for next year, I don't know, but for this season, and I definitely wouldn't draw any sweeping conclusions from one preseason game. Matt, in word on how the tight end played yesterday for LSU, do not know. As I mentioned to y'all, we went out last night for my sister-in-law's birthday, and so I'll catch up today. I'll watch the whole Saints game today and catch up on LSU scrimmage stuff, and so hopefully tomorrow morning, and then on AFR and stuff, we'll have all that stuff. But I will ask about tight end. Let's see. Richie Burt, can't wait for the LSU UCLA game. Can we come to the Cole Tracy party? Probably not, but I do need to talk to Mr. Kent to see what's going on there. God, gotta get some kind of update on. I get some finality on our broadcast. Danny, how cool would it be if the 17th game was a neutral site game? I don't really like that idea. Yeah, I don't like that idea. I'd rather play it in someone's venue and just understand that for 1 year you're gonna have 9 home games. The next year you're gonna have 9 road games. The really tough part is for teams who have to play in London as a home game. Because think of it this way: let's say it's a year where you have 8 home games and 9 road games, and then you play in London as a home game. Well, then you actually only have 7 games in your venue. Like, that's a massive disadvantage. Bronson Powers, all I could see was Hill throwing off the back foot and Winston with a power arm. Hill, on the first drive, made a couple of nice throws. They had a 3rd and 9 on the first drive. First play of the game, he threw an out to Lil Jordan Humphrey. He dropped it. They ran the ball with Murray. He got a yard. So it was 3rd and 9. They converted, man. He threw a really nice pass to Marcus Callaway to convert. But that's, again, where you go, like, it's preseason. If you're really doing backflips over a 3rd and 9 conversion in a preseason game, that's probably sort of an illustration of your issue. Brandon English, point I made to my wife. Let's just try it. Can't keep seeing my wife crying in pain. Amen, man. Let me know when she's going. I really hope it goes well. I really, really hope she's able to get some relief. And pain pills ain't the way, bro. It's just not. It's a quality of life thing. Let's see. It's either Winston wows us all, and he's the dude, or we're drafting one next year. It's hard for me to get over the number 2. Keep getting flashbacks of Aaron Brooks. And it's not just Winston or draft, because you may not be in a position next year to draft one. But like we were just talking about, Aaron Rodgers will be in play, and it's plausible that he would pick New Orleans. Look, who would have thought Tom Brady would have gone to Tampa? Who in the world everybody was talking about the possibility of him going to the 49ers or Denver. That was all the talk, and then he ends up in Tampa. Matt, has Ed said yet our O-line is better right now than at any point last season? No, he hasn't. But remember also, Craig, the major problem with that statement a year ago is that the 2019 defense had a bunch of studs on it. Like, you had Chasson and Queen and Delpit and Stingley. You were loaded. There were times where in the modern age of football, teams moved the ball and scored. By the end of the year, they were a wrecking crew, man. Stephen Fry, Todd or Atkins? Based on the conversations I've had, it sounds like it's going to be Avery Atkins. They like Peyton. He's talking about LSU punter. They like Peyton Todd, his leg, big leg, but it's one of those things where they signed him because he's got a big leg. Now he's got to work on directional punting and placement and all that sort of, not just kicking the crap out of the ball, because that's when you out-kick your coverage, right? But it sounds like Avery Atkins is the guy right now. Craig, can't wait for AFR to broadcast live from the PMAC because we're a basketball school now. Craig, freaking crazy. Have you seen the clip of the Tebow block last night? I have not. Did he blow somebody up? Let me look it up. I got Twitter right here. Tebow block. He's still yoked, man. 34 years old. Oh, here we go. Should have done this his whole career, bro. Oh, you were laughing. He didn't blow up anybody. He like fell down. Oh well. Let's see. Did Pete Warner play last night? I don't remember seeing him out there. Don't know. I told you I'll watch the first quarter. The rest is DVR. And I did not see him early. I mean, you had Caden Ellis out. Caden Ellis and Zach Bond were running out there as your first linebackers. Let's see. Cortland, I thought Taysom looked better than Winston. Whew. Merrick, how's the new patio coming? I should probably share some pictures because yesterday they came and they did the full brick encasement. So all that's left to do now is the countertops and put the appliances in. I mean, the structure is built. It's really exciting. It looks great. We got Pinnacle Exterior Construction doing it, and their crews have been awesome. I mean, they were like literally here from 7 to 7 yesterday, and even the project manager was here last night until almost 7. The crew had left, and the project manager was here like with a vacuum, like vacuuming up the dust and the debris like into the encasement. Like they blew our driveway and hosed the whole thing off. It's like cleaned up all their mess. I mean, really, they've done a great job. They've done a fantastic job. For those who don't know, we're building an outdoor kitchen. That's what he was asking about. Murder Giraffe debating on whether or not to go to Oklahoma versus Tulane September the 4th. Old SEC versus new SEC. I mean, I'll be in LA, so I'm not going to that game. But someone asked me why Oklahoma's playing that game, and why Oklahoma would play at Tulane, and it's to recruit New Orleans. New Orleans is such a hotbed of talent, and it's an opportunity for them to bring their program here. It's not a bad strategy. I think didn't Oklahoma State play at Tulane? Like Tulane, especially since they built Ullman, has been able to attract Texas played Tulane. Texas played Tulane in the Dome a few years back. I don't remember what year that was, but Texas played Tulane in the Dome. But you see teams do that because they want to play in New Orleans. Jesse Brown, Matt, is this David Onyemata's second offense to be suspended 6 games? No, not that I know of. It's not a second offense that's been public anyway. This is his first time being suspended. That's just the. I mean, same thing happened to Mark Ingram. Remember? Jimbo, who dat? Good morning, Scone. Brian and Andy Pinton, good morning from LaPorte, Indiana. Let's see what I've seen from the Saints last night. Sean needs to beg Drew to come back or go get Burrow with a major trade. First preseason game, man. First preseason game. The first preseason game with Breeze and Peyton was awful. That whole first preseason in 2006 was awful. Josh Faust, hey Matt, is there any audio of you post 1/9/12? I didn't start listening to you until about 2 years ago. Oh man. So that would be after the national championship lost to Alabama. Probably, Josh. I mean, we used a different archiving system then. We switched a few years back to a new system, but I mean, everything exists on the internet. I mean, you could probably search if I search after further review, and if I do 1/10/12, 1-10-12, to the AFR. It's interesting, Josh, because I would like to. I'd like to hear it. I don't know why I'd like to hear that. I'd be curious, but we weren't doing video yet. Man, let me think on how I might be able to find that. Aside from just like literally going to AFR on demand and scrolling back through like 10 years worth of shows, I don't know. I really don't know. Huh. Let's see. I'm just going to go as far back as it'll let me go. Yeah, this is to 2015. Yeah, this is only archived to 2015. June 29th of 2015. Matt Moscona chats with Joe Spencer, Jack Marucci, and more on AFR. 2015. Wow. I don't know, man. I have to find it somewhere in the deep recesses of the interwebs. Alright, where are we? 61 watching, 43 likes. Please smash that like button if you haven't done it yet. I think Josh just wants a fresh rant. Alright. Danny Braywick, haven't seen how Rodgers' contract is structured. Is he going to be an outright free agent or will it be a trade? So the way they restructured his contract, let me pull it up so I can so I don't misspeak. So he gets here it is. So they reworked his deal. So in 2021, he'll earn a $6.8 million roster bonus, a $14.4 million signing bonus, and $1.1 million base salary. So basically, he's going to get $22 million this year from Green Bay. Then next year, his roster number would be $26.9 million. But so that saves Green Bay $10 million in cap space for this year. But he's also untaggable next season. And this at least allows Green Bay to be able to trade him. That's the real kicker. So he doesn't just walk. He could walk if he played 21 and 22 in Green Bay. He'd be a free agent, unrestricted free agent in 2022. But by doing the deal they did now, this allows them to be able to trade him for 2022. If they let's see, if they trade him before June of 22, June 1, Green Bay would have $26 million of dead cap. But if it's a post-June 1 trade, God dog it, post-June 1 trade. Let's see. If it's a post-June 1 trade, here you go. If it's a post-June 1 trade, the cap hit falls to $19 million. Still a big number. But it at least gives Aaron Rodgers, it would save them about $8 million. But if they trade him, but they would say that's it. There it is. If they release or trade him, nope, there it is. Okay. They would save a post-June 1 trade or release next year would save Green Bay $26.9 million. So that's more likely what you see with Rodgers. Richie Bird, no surprise, pass protection was lacking. Some problems last year. We bragged that everyone returned, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I guess talking about LSU at that point. And listen, I think a couple things, because someone did ask that earlier. For those who didn't hear, Ojar said defensive line was really good, kind of dominated the scrimmage. I think LSU's defensive line is really good, first of all. So that's always the question, right? Whenever you're having an inter-squad scrimmage, it's should you be excited for the good or disappointed for the bad? Like, the defensive line played really well. Is that because your defensive line is really good or is your offensive line bad? It's probably a little bit of both. Like, and I do worry about Cam Wire at left tackle. He was a swing guy. And then someone in here posted that Garrett Delling is hurt. I haven't seen that reported anywhere. I'm not saying that's not true. I mean, there's plenty of boosters that get to go to the scrimmages and former players and stuff like that go to the scrimmages and, might well have seen something and talked. But if that is the case, then you're really in trouble because you're down to basically your fourth guy at tackle as your backup now. I don't even know who that would be. Marlon Martinez. I don't even know who they would put out there. Would you put Bradford at tackle? Like, I really don't know. Patrick Cason, good morning. Don Jolibois, good morning. Craig, let's see. I was digging through my phone yesterday. Came across an interesting photo. It was the last moments of the huddle. I had the last comment and would have gone down in ball history till you ruined it with a quick text saying bye. I forgot about that. There was someone alerted me to the fact that I guess Friday or maybe yesterday was like 1 year of the huddle going away. The great irony of that is that the dopes in the huddle who mourned the loss of the huddle, it was their inappropriate behavior that killed the huddle. And also, in another sort of weird twist, the huddle hated me, but I'm the one who actually named the thing. We had like a contest at Guarantee, like when we're trying to name the activity stream. They're like, just make your suggestion, blah, 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 through an email. I was like, the huddle. Think of all the different puns we could use. It stuck. Charlie Gale, good morning. Jeremy Fontana. So I got the last comment in the huddle, and I went, bye. That's so good. I love trolling idiots. Jeremy Fontana, do you think Rodgers goes after the biggest money contract, the best team to win? Saints need to go after him, if anything. I mean, didn't they say Tom Brady was having talks with the Saints? They did. Well, I'll put it to you this way, Jeremy. If Drew Brees had not returned last year, I do think Tom Brady would have been a New Orleans Saint. But Drew Brees returned, and I was okay with that. Lee Ballius, good morning, Scone. Saints should have won last night. Too many turnovers. Yes, Lee, 6 is absurd, but I don't really worry about the result of a preseason game. It's just, more seeing the personnel and stuff like that. Let's see, Craig, there was a few good ones out of us, an actual interesting conversation, but it became a toxic cesspool towards the end. Where are we? As always, y'all shout out to Brock. Remember, the After Hours Clinic is open today, so if you need an orthopedist, you can go see Brock, bypass the ER, and HUDCO Roofing. Love to give you a free no-obligation roofing inspection. Me hit y'all up with that website there, so y'all can see it. We do commercial roofing. So y'all keep us in mind, man. If it's you or maybe a supervisor or someone you know that has a commercial building and might be looking, we do commercial roofs as well at HUDCO. Boom. HUDCORoofing.com. Let's see. Scott Lum 12. I remember when you started streaming on Facebook from that closet you used to be in with that crappy chair. Yes. So the original 104.5 ESPN studio, we called it the Vault because it was literally a vault. With a giant vault door, like a bank vault door. They hollowed out, or they went into the vault, knocked down a wall which connected to an office, and made that into the studio, the original 104.5 ESPN studio. When they launched Talk 107.3, they kicked us out of the studio they built for us and put Talk 107.3 in there and moved us across the hall into a production room, which was just one room that they cut in half with a wall for the producer side and on air side, and it was tiny and awful, and the sound in it was terrible, and everything was not palatial in any way. But yeah, in some respects, the reason we have the video studio today and all that sort of stuff is because I started doing Facebook. I would take a phone, and I would just I started on. I wasn't doing Facebook. What was I doing? Was I going live on Twitter? What was what did Twitter buy? What was the live component the live video platform that Twitter bought? God, I'm blanking. Oh, Periscope. That's it. So I was going live on Periscope just to see if people would actually watch, and I would set up a phone just on the deal. I would just set up a phone and put the show on camera. People started watching, and you'd get 10, became 50, became 100. And at that point, then Guarantee bought a Mevo camera. They're like, well, this actually has some promise. And we switched from Periscope to YouTube or to Facebook. And Guarantee bought a Mevo camera and had like a dedicated iPhone to broadcast via the Mevo, and we had a sound thing to hook into the headphone jack or whatever, and that was the origins of it, and that grew and grew and grew until they realized, yeah, we should probably do a video component on this, and that ultimately became the video studio that we have now. So you're welcome, Guarantee. But yeah, those are the days, man. You never know. Sometimes you stumble upon good ideas, and sometimes you just have awful ideas, like Ryan's Whys, when we tried that segment with Terrio. I don't know. Some things hit and some things bomb. We just got to keep swinging. Anyway. Let's see. Trivia. Who's the 7 jerks with the thumbs down? Oh, probably guys from the huddle. Who dat? I would love to see Aaron with our Saints, but shift the focus to this year. Think we got a shot at 10-7 or 9-8. I mean, Jimbo, I think the high water mark for New Orleans this year, which I'm hopeful, is to be right there at 9-8. If they're one game better than 500, and hopefully that gets them in the playoffs. That's what I would love to see. Weather the early storm without Mike Thomas, David Onyemata, all that stuff. Go into your bye week 5. Come out of it. You got to play Seattle in Seattle, which you probably lose. But if you could be 3-3 through 6 games, and then the rest of the way be one game above 500 when you get Thomas and Onyemata and all those guys back, then I think you can be. I think you can be. Yeah, I think you can be 9-8, and it's just going to be interesting to see if that's going to be good enough to get you in the playoffs, because we just don't know. Like, is 9-8 in a 17-game season going to behave more like 8-8 did, or like 9-7 did? You know, which is the win column or the loss column going to be more representative of what it used to be like in a 16-game schedule? That's what we don't know. That's what we'll have to find out. Trivia Matt created a monster. The video stuff, I mean, in many respects, yeah. I mean, I at least lit the wick. Let's see, anything can start out with good intentions, but once it's on the internet will for sure ruin it. Yeah. Matt doesn't even give the AFR YouTube chat a chance. Well, trivia, the reason, I've explained this before, like, and look at what I'm doing right now. There is literally nobody that engages more with their audience than me. Like, I do this every day for 1,239 days. I answer every single question until they're all gone. I pay every month out of my own pocket for the community app so people can text me. That's not a guarantee thing. That's a me thing. Like, I pay for that. And it's expensive because the more users, it's a tiered payment model. Because the more users you get, the more you pay. So, like, I think right now I pay like $199. I pay like $200 a month to have that app so people can text me. There's nobody that engages more than I do. But while I'm on air as a solo show, I'm going to do things that are productive for the show. And this is the biggest misconception. I mean, like, if there's 150 people watching AFR on YouTube concurrently, and of those 150 who are watching, let's say 20 are actively commenting. For me to structure a show for those 20 people is why sports radio typically fails everywhere. It's why it's so niche, because most shows that are caller driven are appealing only to the people calling in, because nobody actually wants to hear from a caller. It is a rare occurrence that you listen to a radio show and someone calls in and you go, God, dog, that was so insightful. I never thought of that. What an amazing, it just doesn't happen. Like, if you're talented enough, prepare your show, be thoughtful, have good content, good guests, be entertaining and informative, and like put on a show for people. If all you're doing is pandering to the 20 people commenting in a chat, especially when those people have a feeling of entitlement, you're losing the 99.99% of your audience that aren't in that chat, that don't give a shit about that chat. Sorry, I cursed him once ago. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem. If there was something productive in there that I could use that would be beneficial for the rest of the audience, great. The problem is, when I'm a solo show and I'm in segment, I'm not reading a chat, because if I stop talking to read the chat, there's nothing going over the air. I don't have a co-host. So when I go to break, I do my live read, and then I have 3 minutes. 3 minutes until the next segment begins. And in those 3 minutes, I'm not reading the YouTube chat. What I'm doing in those 3 minutes is I'm looking at what's my next segment. What live read do I have? Do I have a floating live? Is there any audio we're using in this segment? Is there any video we're using in this segment? Let me get coordinated with Musso and Paul or Danny now to make sure all of that flows seamlessly. Let's test the audio to make sure it works. Like, that's what I'm doing. Maybe I run and take a pee. Like, that's what I'm doing in those 3 minutes. Not talking to fake name guys or arguing with them who say that I suck. Okay, enjoy your day. Thanks for being here. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Jesse Brown. Thought it was 4-game suspension on first offense. 6 games is excessive. It's not. No. It depends on if it's personal conduct, if it's performance enhancing, substance abuse. It depends on the violation. You know, it's a hit, Adventures with Ryan and Matt. You refuse to do it. I wouldn't be opposed to doing that trivia, but the tricky part is finding A, the time, and B, someone to film and edit it and post it, because I'm not doing that. It has to be like worth my time to do something. And I don't mean to be like, I mean, I do so much already. Like, I have to audit my time, right? Like, I have to. I mean, from Morning Scone and Locked On and AFR and meeting with clients, and there's a lot. If I'm going to take time to do something like that, it has to be worth it. I don't think it is. Could be. Let's see. People need to start super chat to help with the community text and E-Rock's landline. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you. I'm not complaining in any way. I'm just telling you that's you asked about the chat, and that's why. Jason Souls, BYU NIL deal will pay for walk-ons full tuition. If LSU could get a deal like this, you could grow your signing class with 10 or more scholarship level players. We talked about that on Friday. But I still think, honestly, Jason, while that makes sense, guys are still going to want to be on scholarship. If they could convince guys to get past the idea of being a walk-on or whatever stigma that may be, you know, maybe. Let's see, Craig, are we getting celebrity guest pickers this season so Ryan can screw it up? Absolutely. You better believe that. Craig, that's why call-in shows suck. Good Lord, it's cringe times 1,000. It is. Look, I think I really don't know if y'all find this interesting, but I can talk media. I can talk like the dynamics of media and inner workings of the industry all day and night, because I just know it. Sports radio, by and large, as a format, is very niche. It does not play in the macro. There are very rare examples where sports talk stations actually win, where they get ratings and revenue and things like that. Like, you know, WEEI in Boston, the Fan in New York, obviously, WIP in Philly. Like, there's some heritage sports talkers that have always got ratings, got numbers, and they're big market, and they were some of the originators of sports talk. Jocks in Birmingham does really well. And we do. Yeah, I mean, 104.5 ESPN has become kind of like this little juggernaut, 5,000 watt FM. It's actually a little crazy. But most don't, because most sports talk stations have pay-for-play guys that come on and take phone calls from the same 10 people every single day, and it's really bad. It's Homer fanboy radio, and it's really bad. And it's why it doesn't scale. But it's kind of a chicken or the egg question. Like, do you invest in the station and personnel and things like that after it's successful, or do you invest up front in hopes that it succeeds? It's a tough call. Kelly Gross, good morning. Frank Alessi, Feinbaum's the only one people listen to for the callers because they're so bad. That is a rare outlier of a caller-driven show that did well, but keep in mind, like, Feinbaum, but that's also kind of like Mike and the Mad Dog, right? But that was one of the originals at a time when it didn't exist. And Paul created a culture around that. And it's not like that show does giant numbers on the SEC network. The reason the SEC network took Feinbaum was not for radio. It was to fill 4 hours of programming a day on the SEC network on TV. I mean, think about that. Like, when you launch a linear television network, you have to program it 24 hours a day. Finding content for 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year, it's not easy. Feinbaum allows them to program 20 hours per week. Basically, one full day a week of their programming is the Paul Feinbaum Show. And actually they probably re-air it, I would think, as well at some point. So, I mean, do they re-air it? If they do, then it's even more. You know what I mean? So, like, that was the appeal of Feinbaum to the SEC network. It wasn't the callers or any of that stuff, because they made him change his format. I mean, he does interviews and has guests and stuff like that, but I mean, he'll have SEC baseball guests, which he never did before. But that was the appeal, was eat up 20 hours a week of programming. She's more insightful than insightful. Got it. Jason, 3-star guys you could develop. Who would want a shot in the SEC instead of the Sun Belt or CUSA? Could add depth and be valuable. The difficult part of that, though, Jason, is you have to find a willing partner. And I don't know that a business is going to want to invent. Like, what Built Bar did with BYU is brilliant, because that video... All right, that video has gotten... Why wouldn't they pin that video at the top? That's so stupid. Let's see. Why wouldn't they pin that video at the top? Oh my God, that's so stupid. Anyway, okay. That video has 3.1 million views. All right. Let's see, LSU. So, all right. So so this is a comparison, okay? Just so you know. So 2 years ago, better yet, okay. 2 years ago, so 2019, the last time there was like a full regular college football season, the SEC on CBS averaged 6.68 million viewers, which was the highest at any point since 1990, and was up 37% from 2018 at 4.87 million. So just consider that was the high water mark. 2018, the SEC on CBS, okay, averaged 4.87 million viewers per game. Some specific games. Missouri, Tennessee had 2 million viewers. Kentucky, Georgia had 3.4 million viewers. Okay. Florida, Missouri had 2.29 million. So my point is, that Twitter video has more views than people who watched the SEC on CBS 2 years ago in its biggest year ever. And if you had an advertisement in that game, you had to hope that someone was watching the commercial, staying through the commercial to see your ad during that game. This, everybody knows who did it. It's Built Bar. Like, you watch the 2-minute video, everybody knows the business associated with it. So so my point is, if you are Built Bar, you spend, I looked up the tuition for BYU, it's like $5,000. I couldn't believe it was so low. It's like less than Catholic High or Dumb. But if you spend $200,000, because if it's $5,000 times 40 walk-ons or whatever they have, you spend $200,000, and now 3 million people have seen that. You're not buying an ad on the SEC on CBS, to get that type of exposure. You see what I'm saying? So my point is, the business looks at it as a marketing opportunity. Yeah, you're doing something great, and it's philanthropy, and it's a write-off and all that stuff, but it's also a marketing opportunity. you're not going to go to 3-star player who's marginal and pay his tuition to LSU in hopes that this guy might end up being good. If you're that business, you want some type of return. Either you want your team to get the 5-star guy who otherwise is going to go somewhere else, but you're going to give that guy a scholarship anyway, or you want the return of the ad value. I don't know, does that make sense? So I understand the question that you're asking, and in theory, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think it's plausible. All right. God, we've been on an hour and 20 minutes. Craig, not going to lie, football, basketball season, I'm sports talk from the moment I walk into work to the moment I walk out of that 0% is calling shows. They do re-air it. Yeah, see? Let's see, Danny, I love sports talk. You're the only local person I listen to. You're authentic, not a fanboy. Thank you. I like Dan Patrick because he talks about interesting sports, not debate shows that talk Cowboys and LeBron all day. Dan Patrick is very good. I like Dan, and I don't really get to listen to. I haven't heard Dan in a long time. But I remember when he was on ESPN Radio, early mid 2000s. Before he left and Cowherd filled that spot. Maybe it was Kornheiser and then Cowherd? I don't remember. Dan Patrick has a very good interviewing style. I would watch Dan for that, to take tips like that. Let's see. Trail Hatch, wouldn't it now be smart to build an elite defense around quarterbacks you don't actually trust in the post-Breeze era? Neither quarterback can get you to the Super Bowl. At least the defense can give you a fighting chance. Terrell, the problem is, man, what resources do you have? Are you going to go trade draft picks to bring in starting caliber players? There's no free agents that are available that are starting caliber players right now. So, I mean, you're really just scraping from the bottom. That's the problem. My favorite hang with Hester was when he did a live show from a restaurant. The audio sounded like he was talking into a soup can. He got so mad he ended the mid-show. I don't know that he ever ended mid-show. I don't think that's contractually allowed. Let's see. Dunn was more than $5,000 when it was Chapel drafted. Oh, man. One more time, if you would. Look at that. I love it. 53 watching, 60 likes on YouTube. If you haven't done so yet, please smash that like button. Much appreciated. Facebook, like the page, share the post. As always, shout out to Brock. After Hours Clinic's open, and of course, Hudco Roofing. Let me see if I can get through these quick. Murder Giraffe. What does Zach Von Rosenberg do at LSU? I don't think he's not working there. I mean, his eligibility's up. He's working with us as a correspondent, so he goes to practice and then kind of does our practice reports. Let's see. Do you write the ads you do for your sponsors, or do they give you a script? If you do it, you truly have a gift. I enjoy the ads on AFR as much as the show itself. Thank you. There are none of those are scripted. Those are live reads. It is a fun challenge to try to keep them fun and entertaining. But no, they're not scripted. Those are 60-second live ads, live reads. I know a general direction. I mean, that's why I stay in touch with my sponsors a lot to know, what the advertiser wants to push. So, like, Miss Teresa over at Clegg's will usually email on Monday. She'll give me what their sales are for the week, what they're trying to push. Like last week, she kind of, all the Buckbuster stuff came in, so I kind of have to move it toward that. I talked to Shane Danton with Pinnacle last week. He's like, look, we're really, we want to push pools and make sure that people know to get on our books before the new year. If you want to be swimming for next pool season, get on our schedule before the new year. So, like, that's been a big shift. So, like, I have those conversations a lot. Talk to Brandon Holly all the time. Just talk to Darren James and I talked yesterday. We talk all the time, just to make sure that I have my talking points. I know what direction they want me to push for their business. But yeah, there's no script. Now, the one that is scripted is DraftKings, which is new, and they have like a specific message because it's a big national campaign. So a lot of that stuff is like, they want you to take some liberties, but really they have their message that they want to hit. So it's like, okay. Josh, Matt, thanks for checking. Really was always curious to hear your take on that disaster. Oh, from the national championship game in 11. Yeah. I mean, basically, and T-Bob's told me this. He said basically they just practiced the option for a month. He said Les was convinced that they were going to win with the option. And so he started Jordan, and whenever they got stuffed on the first series, they didn't have a backup plan. Scholarship and troops coming home videos are always going to be a hit. True. Very true. It plays. Tugs at the emotional heartstrings. Companies have a better shot at getting a return on TikTok or Instagram rather than traditional television. It depends, Murder Giraffe, because it's really about execution. Now, as far as affordability, yes. But when you look at either TV or radio, what we would call mature advertising products, they work. They're just more expensive because they work, and we know they work, and they've worked for a long time. If you're going to move into digital marketing, and I would not do like Google AdWords, it's just so expensive. And people we're trained now to avoid ads when we do a Google search, because we don't want to be cookied. And anyway, like if you're going to do digital like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, like you have to be able to execute. Like you can't do a TV ad on those platforms because people are going to tune it out. You have to do something creative, like what Built Bar did with BYU. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What do you think of the Saints' new play-by-play man? Great. Mike was the guy who many, and I didn't hear him yesterday, by the way. Now, shoot, I'm wishing I had tuned in. I didn't, but Mike will be great. He was the guy that I think was the odds-on favorite to get it last time until Zach Street threw his name in the hat, and the Saints did what the Saints do. Well, actually, it wasn't the Saints; it was WWL, but whatever. Jonathan Martin, our last one. A few years back, when Jimmer Fredette was at BYU, the school suspended their starting center because they found he was having sex before marriage. I remember that. They have an honor code there at BYU. Like all the students have to sign an honor code. Frank, how are there still other roofing companies as sponsors? So, Frank, no different than how you can watch a football game and you can see a Budweiser ad and a Miller ad and a Coors ad all in the same game. Anybody can buy an ad that runs, but for me, my endorsement is just one company. Like that's the misconception. Don't think just because you hear a recorded commercial in my show that I'm endorsing it. My endorsements are the ones you hear out of my mouth. My endorsements are GMFS, Aesthetic Medicine, Darren James, River City's 1 Hour Air, Shawbill, South Point Volkswagen, right? Like Pluckers, Ichiban. I mean, I'm naming it, but you all know. Well, Hudco is mine now. Like, that's my endorsement. That's the company I endorse. That doesn't mean another company can't come to Guarantee and say, we want to buy an ad schedule that runs from 3P to 7P, or from 6A to 6P, which is more likely what you do. So it runs all like if you're a company, you come in, you buy an ad schedule that runs 6A to 6P, means you will have, let's say you buy 5 ads a day, or maybe 60 ads in a week or 60 in a month, whatever it may be. So it's 2 a day that'll run 6A to 6P. And so they will be randomly placed throughout the day. And sometimes you might hear it on AFR, you might hear it on OTB, you might hear it on, the midday show. That's how that works. But understand, like, just because you hear a commercial on my show doesn't mean I'm endorsing. The only things that I endorse are the things you hear come out of my mouth. When I talk about Sazerac, that's my endorsement. And I'm frank. I mean, there's confusion because someone told me a couple days ago. They're like, "Oh, I was I needed an AC company." And I thought, "Oh, who's Miscellaneous talk about?" Well, they called Accutemp's. I'm like, Accutemp's not mine. Just because you hear those ads in my show, that's not mine. Not good for them. I mean, but River City's 1 Hour Air is my sponsor. Like, I would love for you to call River City's 1 Hour Air if you need AC. That's my sponsor. Does that make sense? Matt, did you say ads for digital? Yes, literally. Digital advertising on digital platforms. Not in the way that Terrio said it, which makes literally no sense at all. David Wallace, might be time to take some crypto profits. Not yet, David. Not yet, my friend. Soon, though. In the run-up to 100 with Bitcoin is when I'll do it. Not yet, though. I'm waiting for the blow the top off. Okay. Gonna watch some games today? Absolutely. Fired up. Okay, y'all. 10 o'clock. Go get some breakfast. Have a day. So always shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. Again, if you need an orthopedist, Brock is my sponsor. I would love for you to go to Brock. If you need a roof, Hudco is a company that I have an ownership stake in, so I would really love it if you would let us come do a free, no obligation roofing inspection. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. I think we're done. See y'all. Have a great day. Peace.